Dayton County, Juvenile Court, that's still like Callaway, right?
You all may be seated. All right, we are here today on the matters of Sinan Guyder versus Lydia Hubble. We have, from my recollection, there's a couple of petitions on the docket that all need to be resolved today. Petition number 22962, 223886, AC 223883, and AC 223885. I believe are all the things that are outstanding in these matters. And I believe there was a motion to consolidate all of the remaining petitions. There's a petition for contempt and for modification of parenting schedule, a petition for contempt for failure to comply with order of visitation, a petition to change custody in a parentage case, and I think the first one was the first petition.
Yeah, that was our petition on the spot initially, was the petition to amend the current custody arrangement.
Okay. All right. If I could have all those who are going to testify in this matter, please stand and raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, to help you God?
I do. All right. It is a rule requested.
Yes.
All right. So,
Your Honor, may I ask before, I've spoken with Leanne, I do not anticipate that Leanne or Ms. Mullins will be called today. I think we have a lot of witnesses to get through.
Okay.
I told her I would request her to have that she be excused for the day and return tomorrow. I just don't think there's any.
not tomorrow.
Friday.
Okay.
I don't think there's any chance that we'll get it done, so I just.
Okay. That's fine. And do we have contact information just in case we might?
Excuse me, Your Honor. Good morning. I work for DCS. I'm the FSS on this case.
Gotcha. And tell me your name?
Leanne Clark.
Leanne Clark?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Your Honor. I would not be, I was not scheduled to work Friday as I have a son that's in college and I have to get him home, but I have to move him out of the
Got
apartment
you.
Friday.
So you're not available Friday?
And I was unaware of that. We would continue to Friday, Your Honor.
Gotcha.
My
Okay.
apologies.
And you're DCS too?
No, ma'am, I'm with Camelot, Judith Mullins.
Judith Mullins. Okay. I
And,
recognize this.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not available as well on Friday. I have appointments scheduled the entire day.
All right. All right. Is there a chance we can call them out of order?
Well, I've already told the 3 people from the school I would call them to get them out of here. So I don't know that we'll get through all 5, but we can. We can try. I'm fine with that. I guess it's just kind of completely changing the way I was going to present my case because I was going to start with my witness and then Ms. Hubble, and I'm already doing the 3 people from the school first to get them out. So
If we can try to accommodate all of these witnesses, since I know that Mr. Guyder, Ms. Hubble will be with us forever, and so if we can get the ancillary witnesses out, and so that we can take care of that. All right, and then while I've got y'all's name, let me get y'all's names as well.
It's Elizabeth Getz, Goetz.
All right, and then
And Carol Pickett, Pickett.
Terry Ashford.
okay. All right, and if I can't ask all of you all to step out in the hallway, and we'll be calling you all shortly. And then for the record, we do have with us today Miss Sterling Mack, who is the guardian ad litem for the child Abigail Guyder. We have Miss Connie Regularly, who is the attorney for the mother, Miss Lydia Hubble, who is here with us today. We have Miss Sarah Reese, who is attorney for the father, Mr. Sinan Guyder, who is also with us. And then we have with Miss Reese.
This is Jess Morgan. She has just graduated from Belmont Law School.
Awesome, congratulations. All right, are you getting ready for the bar?
Yes.
Woo. And then for the court, we have with us Miss Cynthia Gorton with us today as well. All right, are there any preliminary issues that need to be addressed before we begin?
May I ask, just for my client's knowledge, what role Ms. Gordon will be playing?
she's a court observer here, not playing any roles whatsoever.
I do have a couple of pretrial issues. I think Mother Child motion though first, if you want to go with that.
Well, and I would ask on behalf of my client what role this young lady is playing here in the courtroom today. She's
I think
not
she's
a party,
probably
she's not an
assistant in this-
attorney of record, so we would oppose her being present in the courtroom.
Is she one of your assistants? She can remain as an assistant for the attorney.
All right, I have a motion for telephonic testimony of a person who had served as the child's counselor. And Ms. Rice said that she did not oppose that. The timing is a little bit of an issue. Actually, we were unclear in preparation as to who was kind of going first. And as we pulled it out today, because we had scheduled her to be this morning, she's in California. However, I just talked to Ms. Hubble, and I think she can step out and call her and ask her to do first thing Friday morning.
Okay.
And that will alleviate that.
That'd probably be best if we
Okay.
could do that.
Okay.
So there's no objection, Ms. Mack and Ms. Reese. Okay, great.
Yeah, and I just to be clear, one, for purposes of the record, is are we consolidating all of the petitions today?
We are,
Okay,
and I guess we need to figure out for the purposes of contempt issues,
yes.
who can testify, who, I know that may sway what testimony is elicited on the other petitions as well. I think, truthfully, it's all one kit and caboodle, but, and I think each of the attorneys probably have discussed with your clients the contempt issues that are pending. I'm willing to listen to the advice or guidance from either party if you all think that a contempt needs to be heard first, or just bring in all the evidence and then make a decision as to all the issues that are still pending.
Well, I would say probably, as far as my client's position, any contempt issues, she would probably have to testify in defense of anyway. So I would just say probably prior to their testimony, I just think we probably need to procedurally kind of go through any waivers that would be appropriate and just go ahead and keep the evidence rolling.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think my client has any objection.
Okay. All right. So before they testify, then we'll
Yes.
deal with any contempt testimony issues, and I'll
Yeah,
make sure
just
they
the
understand their rights and
waivers.
stuff.
Yeah, just the
Okay.
appropriate waivers.
All right. All right. Anything else preliminary?
Yes, Your Honor. There are two things that we might not have to deal with them right now, but I want to deal with them before we leave for the day. In that, the first is that Ms. Hubble has been posting Delara's psychological assessment reports online on Facebook. That's obviously a huge issue for the child's personal privacy. It violates all the court orders. I would like that taken down immediately. The second thing is Ms. Hubble has been posting numerous YouTube videos. I have those and we'll be presenting them as evidence later, but where she discusses the case, discusses Delara, has told Delara to search the videos, and the teachers will testify that Delara apparently has been searching on them on her iPad, watching them, and we think that that's relating a lot to her behavior issues, Your Honor, so I would ask for those to be removed as well.
Well, I think we need to hear some evidence first.
Okay.
Okay.
All
I
right.
just want to make sure those two items are addressed today, but I have them and do it, well, I was intending to present them, but with the five witnesses, I don't now know.
And again,
my son's
Your Honor, just to be
graduation's on the
clear,
16th.
Are we making an oral motion to do something, or?
I think that's her oral motion for me to do something, but we'll deal with it prior to us
I
leaving
think
today.
ultimately, are we saying that we're gonna set that aside for a later time?
Yes, she's just asking that I definitely address that before we leave today.
Okay.
So I'm not going to address it now. And I agree, Ms. Regularly. I do need to hear some evidence as to if that's true or not. And then if it is true, then we'll
Zero
deal with that.
disrespect, Your Honor, you know I'm out. What are we calling this oral motion?
Or a motion to remove posts that violate the court order and are not in the best interest of the child.
All
Well,
right.
and I would oppose it on the basis that certainly this is something she knew before today. She could have given me notice. I don't like being hijacked when I walk in the courtroom. If she had this information, she certainly could have, and she didn't put it in her certificate of readiness either. So I'm going to reserve that objection all along the way. You can't just hijack the case when you walk in the
She's
courtroom.
in contempt of court orders, that's not hijacking anything. She knows the court orders and is continuing to violate them over and over and over.
Well, great, if it's contempt, now you've got Rule 42 issues and you've got to give notice,
All right, we'll
so.
deal with all that in the end. We'll do any other preliminary issues? All right, let's do opening statement. All
She would be first if she's going.
right,
Just a very brief opening, I don't have a formal opening prepared. To be honest, I'm not sure exactly what we can do here today. I come to the court hoping for some guidance, try talking to both therapists to see what their suggestions are. We were really hoping that last order would work and that unsupervised visits that some supervised visits would be successful, would lead to unsupervised visits, would lead to some parenting time. And Ms. Hubble has shown over and over and over again, she can't even handle unsupervised visits. She has continued to violate the court orders up until 2 days ago, I think. I haven't checked yet this morning, but continuing to violate the orders over and over and over again. Your orders have been upheld on appeal. She knows they've been upheld on appeal, and she has been continuing to violate them. She continues to disrespect the court. It's having a serious, serious impact on this little girl. She is reporting thoughts of hurting herself. She is so violent at school. She is kicking students. She has very few friends. They're all scared of her. She is demonstrating behavioral problems. She's frankly handling issues the way her mother has shown to handle issues. And Your Honor, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do other than to stop the mother's visits because she can't even handle the supervised visits, and it's having a serious, serious impact on the child. So we would ask the court to stop the visits until she can demonstrate that she is ready to resume them again and ready to respect the orders of the court.
all right, Ms. Regular?
Your Honor, when I came into this case, one of the first things I did in behalf of Ms. Hubble was go through this October the 15th, 2015 order, specifically about the visitation and about the restrictions placed upon the mom. So I stepped in last summer, and one of the first things she had already done 2 months of unsupervised visits. And, one of the things that look into this order, I said, well, it looks to me like you've met the court's criteria. And said, I think it appears that it's time for you to start your unsupervised visits, which is what she started to do. What the proof is going to show, and she complied while the order of protection was down. There was no visits. She basically was cut off from her child for a year. So she complied with that 2 months of supervised visits, which went well. And, and we've discussed this before, so I know you probably know what's coming today, but in the Camelot visitation records at the end of that 2 months, Mr. Geider hijacks the supervision of the visitation, and suddenly is telling them they're not doing it right, they're not observing her properly, they need to be licensed people, and then he does it over and over and over. Now the Court of Appeals, she's not exactly right when she says the Court of Appeals upheld Your Honor's order. The Court of Appeals went back and looked specifically at the restrictions that were put upon the mother, and they say in there, which I think is they say that the restrictions, Your Honor had put a restriction on her. Let me just get to this. I'm looking at the Court of Appeals opinion, Geider v. Hubble, which was filed on March 29, 2017, and I'm assuming both of these made their way into the court file. The court, some of the restrictions placed on the mother's communication were overbroad and vague. The prohibition against any mention of the father by the mother on social media would prohibit the most benign reference to the father, and the prohibition against mother discussing, quote, adult issues only, unquote, with her child leaves a reasonable basis for doubt as to what topics beyond those specifically mentioned in the order the mother may not discuss. Consequently, we modify the juvenile court's injunction to remove the prohibitions against 1, any reference by mother to father at all on social media, or 2, discussions of, quote, adult issues only. And then in the contempt order, they again talk about specifically what prohibitions were on the mother related to social media versus what prohibitions were on her as it relates to her communications with the child. And the proof is going to show not only did he start hijacking the supervised visitation with Miss Mullins, that then when they transferred to Miss Rose, who's going to come in and testify, he started communicating with her, sending a secret email to her, which was not provided to Miss Hubble, was not provided to her counsel, putting this whole entire list of restrictions, turning all this supervision into a hostile environment. That should have been prohibited and restricted by the court. So, therefore, they're wondering why Mom's saying, no, I'm not leaving. No, I can't do this. She never received that communication, never knew about it until we came to court on February the 10th. So the material change of circumstances from our point of view is that this court had an order, and even the Court of Appeals acknowledged when they looked at your order, they really interpreted it like I did. It said in there that they said, well, the supervised visitation wasn't forever, it was only for 2 months. That was how the Court of Appeals interpreted it. That's how the mother interpreted it. That's how I interpreted it when we looked at it. We didn't know it was any different until we came back to court and had a hearing, and Your Honor said, well, I didn't really mean it that way. Well, with all due respect, we have not only me and my client with a different interpretation, the Court of Appeals as well. So we have this mother attempting to comply and step through and do what she's supposed to do. In the meantime, not only is father hijacking the supervised visits, he's having her arrested every time she turns around. She's been arrested 3 or 4 times on the father's complaints, most of which she's been exonerated from, but she's had to go to jail, she's had to make bond, she's had to have a court-appointed attorney, she's had to have multiple appearances in criminal court. So he is continuing to churn up the hostility. So when you talk about what do we do in this case, that equally has to be addressed. So there is a material change of circumstances. We've already, and I know this is a different proceeding, but Your Honor has already heard just a couple months ago, even Dr. Berryman said that she could not say that Delara's conduct was directly related to things that the mother had done. Nobody's been able to say that. Nowhere. Not even in your order from October 2015, not even from the Court of Appeals orders. Nobody has made that direct connection. This is a troubled child. Father's already tried to say, oh, her behavior got much better when the visitation stopped. Not true. And it's going to be shown it's not true. She needs her mother. She needs her mother in her life. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Mack.
I guess ultimately reminding ourselves why we're here today is the issue before the court is what is best for Delara Gadere. Has there been a material change of circumstances since the 2015 order? As to Delara, has her behaviors gotten worse? The guardian ad litem would show that today the court will hear yes, Delara's behaviors have gotten worse. The reasoning for that material change or her behaviors becoming worse is what the court will hear today. The court has the privilege and the opportunity of deciding and weighing all of the evidence before the court to determine if, in fact, the mother's absence from Delara's life is the contributing factor to Delara's behavior, or if, in fact, the father's actions that he has taken allegedly is the cause for Delara's behaviors. I think this court, as much as the Court of Appeals, is in a tough spot to decide what really goes on in the dark when the court's not looking, attorneys are not looking, and the guardian ad litem doesn't know. I think the proof is in the package. We can say all day that Mr. Gadere is the cause of all of these things that my colleague has stated, that Ms. Hubble has, one, been arrested, orders of protection, visitation suspended, on video. We can say that Mr. Gadere is that silent enemy all day long. At the end of the day, it is up to Ms. Hubble to decide when it is appropriate to discuss the matters, to address the matters outside of the presence of my client. So I would submit to the court today, has there been a material change of circumstances to warrant a change from anything that's already in that current order? I would say it has not, other than the mere fact that Delara needs help. She needed help in 2015. She needed services. We heard testimony in 2015 that Delara was having social, emotional issues then. With that issue, I concur with my colleague, as well as both of my colleagues, that Delara needs help. But who has taken the necessary steps to help themselves to be able to address the needs of Delara? Outside of mental health meds, mental health counseling, or whatever, the issue that the court needs to look at is the appropriateness and the opportunity for each of these parents to ensure that Delara is safe, she's stable, and she's getting her needs met, but also that they can even work with each other to facilitate a normal, healthy life for my client. I can present to you today, Your Honor, that what you will hear is Delara loves both of her parents very, very much. What Delara wants and has wanted was to live with her father and visit with her mother. Can we get there? We have tried to get there since 2015. Now, I can't tell this court that you're going to hear that this was Mr. Hidair's fault. What I can tell you is what you will hear is a pattern of frustration and outrage from Ms. Hubble. When this court has guided her on numerous occasions, CASA has guided her on numerous occasions, there is a particular platform and a time to address your issues, not in front of a child. So here today, Your Honor, I will present to you, and I pray that you will find today that there has not been a material change of circumstances to warrant a change of custody to give anyone other than where Delara is. However, we need to do something. Mom, dad, whoever needs something structured for them to understand. Delara is suffering, and she was suffering before, and she's still suffering now, and it's getting worse. Is it because of her mother or her father? I don't believe it's neither. What I believe at the end of the day, Your Honor, is this child has had a whole lot of adult communication, a lot of drama, and no one is finding out what is really hurting her on the inside. And it is my hope, Your Honor, that you will see that today, that you need to craft an order as detailed and as specific for Delara on when and how she is to communicate and work with her mother, based upon therapist recommendations, school recommendations, as well as the recommendations of the parents weighed together, Your Honor. So I urge you today, Your Honor, to listen carefully and hear the truth for Delara.
Thank you. We'll call your first witness.
Yes, Your Honor, it'd be Ms. Carol Pickett.
All right.
I apologize, Your Honor. I actually, may I ask for one more copy of the psychological assessment report?
Sure.
I think I have copies.
Do you?
Good morning. You'll just have a seat, right? Is that,
Sarah, is this what you're looking at? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to, I don't read that now, but I don't copy them. Thank you. Hi, can you please state your name for the court?
I'm Carol Pickett.
And what is your job, Ms. Pickett?
I'm a second grade teacher at Gower Elementary School.
How long have you been a second grade teacher?
Well, total of 5 years. I was in third grade for 15 before that,
And how long have you been at Gower Elementary?
for 20 years.
How long have you known Delara?
19, sorry.
How long have you known Delara Hidair?
Since the 1st of August, it'd be 9 months almost, 8, 9.
And are you her teacher?
Yes.
What courses do you teach for her?
I teach all courses except special areas like art and music. Teach social studies, math, science, English and language arts.
Do you have the chance to observe Delara pretty regularly?
Absolutely.
And have you noticed any issues that Delara has at school?
Yes.
Can you please describe some of those issues for the court?
Delara has a very hard time being part of the class. She only wants to work on her own. She gets very upset when anyone is slower than she is in understanding something. She tends to be a bully in class. She strikes out physically at people. If she thinks someone has said something that bothers her in any way, she'll strike out at them. The other children are very much afraid of her.
Has she ever physically stricken out at you?
Yes, many times.
Can you describe how those incidents occur?
The first major one was when she threw a desk over, she had a tantrum, threw a desk over it. I was wearing sandals, it was September 1st, it crushed my toe joint. I didn't really realize, I thought it was just a broken toe and that it would heal. But 2 weeks later, I was walking her down the hall to the office because she was trying to hit other students. And I just pulled her around the hall and walked her down. And she turned around and stomped in that same toe. So then I couldn't deny it. I had to go to a doctor, and I'm still under his care. I'm expected to have surgery this summer.
Overall, how do you and Delora interact?
We get along very well. I talk to her like an adult. She appreciates that, and I try to explain things to her. But I think we have a very good relationship on the whole.
Can you typically tell when one of her outbursts is going to occur?
Oh, yeah.
And what seems to trigger these outbursts?
If someone says something she doesn't like, there's a child in the class, if he walks by her, she's gonna get mad. Anything he says, if she sees his, he has a disability, he has an assistant full-time, which she resents. If she sees the assistant working with him, she gets upset.
You said that I believe you said that the children are scared of her. Is that
Yes.
correct? Have they expressed that to you?
I have letters that they bring to me. I have, after each major tantrum, we have social emotional learning, and we talk about it and what happened and try to just kind of put them at rest about it, that she can't help it. I'm going to keep you safe. It's going to be all right. But I have letters they bring me about how terrified they were.
Does Delora have many friends in your class?
She does not really have real friends. I have talked to people, asked them to play with her. I think it's very poignant that one child told, is it Connie, thanks for playing with Delora at recess. And she said, yeah, well, I play with her because I don't want her to hit me.
How does she interact with children her own age?
Not very well. Am I giving you too much information? Okay.
If ever, they'll stop you.
Okay.
They'll make an objection if it's.
She believes that she is smarter than all of them. She has said that she tells them that daily, that she's the part smartest person in the whole school, that they don't do anything right. You know, it's her way or the highway, you know, when interacting. She gets angry quickly. If someone says, if we're working in groups, I don't think she's ever successfully gone through with the group. She will stomp away, call them jerks, and just go over to her desk and pout, usually.
You said specifically she calls them jerks. Have you heard anyone else use the phrase jerks?
Yes,
And who is that?
that was Ms. Hubble. She repeatedly refers to Laura's father as a jerk in emails.
How often have you had the chance to communicate with Ms. Hubble?
I send her an email every day about Laura's behavior.
And does she email you as well?
Yes, she does.
What kinds of things does she say to you in the emails she sends you?
She talks about how much she misses Delora, that she knows Delora loves her. She says,
Judge, I'm going to object and let they have the emails present because that would be the best evidence of this testimony.
Your Honor, this is just a general summary of the kinds of things she is saying to the teacher.
Well,
It's important to show where the teacher's ideas are coming from and how she interacts with the mother overall.
Well, but she's trying to do a summation of things that are in writing, and the best evidence rule would require that they present those
All
emails.
right, I'll just We'll just present the email to you.
Hey, I don't
I'll
know
sustain
if
the objection.
you can bring it up.
Okay, that's fine. We'll get it in.
But it's all about how,
Wait.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're okay. You're all right. Miss Pinkett, she'll ask you a different question, and we'll get that.
You did mention specifically that Ms. Hubble has referred to Mr. Gadara as a jerk
Yes.
repeatedly.
Again, Judge, I would object and move to strike that same objection. The best evidence rule required they present those emails.
I will overrule that one only because it was a repeat of a question that was already in there. It's already good evidence.
Have there been, without specifically, have there been any other comments that Delara has made which seem to you as though they come from Ms. Hubble?
I'm going to object unless she can lay a foundation of personal knowledge on that.
Has Delara made any other comments that you have also heard Ms. Hubble make?
No.
What steps have been taken to try to address Delara's behavior issues?
Everything we can think of, everything. We have had behavior plans, we've had reward plans, we've had extrinsic rewards, we have had the guidance counselor in, we've worked with her. What is working, we have, she now has an IEP. She has one of the EE teachers come in. Yeah, she always comes in the afternoon. She checks on her in the mornings. It kind of threw me off when someone said about as an assistant. She's not really an assistant, she's one of the teachers. And she comes in after Laura's had a good day. She gets to go down to this teacher's room and paint, do whatever she wants to. She also checks in with me about her in the mornings, just as I believe is specified in the IEP. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure what it pertains in the mornings, but she does check on her, and if I need someone to come down, she sends someone down.
Do you also have any other systems implemented for all the students in your classroom?
Not like that.
Do you have color charts that you use in the classroom?
We cannot display any color charts, but yes, we do have a color system for behavior. And I keep a record on a clipboard, and then I'll put the color in. It's very private between me and the child. And Dolores is also very private.
Is Delara able to take any breaks during the day if she needs to?
Absolutely, and she gets to call when she needs one. Although if I see her starting to get upset, I will suggest that she goes to the art teacher for 10 minutes for a break. And that seems to calm her down every time.
How has her behavior been lately?
Lately, she has had very good behavior, and I keep telling her how proud I am of her, that she is reeling in her emotions. She is, several times when I thought she might be about to go off, she was just sat there, and you can just see the wheels turning. She's reeling it in. She's self-talking herself down.
Would you say that her behavior has improved recently?
Absolutely.
Have you specifically done anything yourself so that you can better relate to Delara or have discussions with Delara?
I learned all about Pokemon. I can tell you anything from I know about Pokemon.
And does it seem to calm her down when you talk to her about Pokemon?
Yes, and my son was into that, and so he sends her drawings, things like that. If I'm going to be gone, I leave her a note, just anything to let her know she's been thought of.
Have you had any issues with communication with either of the parents?
No,
Have they seemed fairly accommodating to any recommendations that you have made? for
Yes.
her? Has there been anything that you have, or has there been any indication to you that Delara has watched any videos put on YouTube by her mother?
oh yes.
And what are those indications?
She tells the other children to watch
Judge,
them.
I object to the hearsay.
Your Honor, it's not out of court statement used for the proof of the matter. I mean, she's talking about Catherine, she hasn't made any statements specifically.
Well,
on
that's
that
what they,
hearsay.
that's what they said on their opening statements was part of the proof, is that she watched him, so it is being offered for the truth of the matter.
But she's not saying something that Dolores said as far as she said this. She's saying in conversations that have occurred with the other students in her presence.
Well, exactly, which is hearsay. She's saying what Dolores said to other students, which is hearsay.
Without saying specifically what Dolores has said, has she given you indications that she has seen the YouTube videos posted by her mother?
Oh, yes.
Has she given you indications that she has watched over and over?
Judge, I'm going to object. I don't know what indication means, but she's going to have to lay a foundation of personal knowledge.
I'm gonna overrule that one, but yes, I'll over that.
Has she given you indications that she's watched them repeatedly?
Yes.
Again, Judge, I have to object. What's an indication? That it's going to have to be from a statement unless she has some foundation of personal knowledge of an observation that she has made.
But you can ask her how the indication came from.
Do you have any outside knowledge of any YouTube videos that Ms. Hubble has posted?
Yes, I was curious, so I looked them up.
What made you curious about them?
Because I was told to, by Delora.
Were you told about YouTube videos by anyone other than Delara?
No,
So Delara was your sole basis of knowledge for these YouTube videos?
yes.
And after hearing this from Delara, you went and looked up the YouTube videos, is
Right.
that correct? Do you have any recommendations for the court when it's crafting its order as to things that you think would be helpful at home, or any considerations you would like the court to consider when it's drafting its order about Delara's best interest?
Your Honor, I'm going to enter an objection. This witness has not been proffered as an expert.
I'll sustain that.
Well, no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, cross-examination, Ms. Regularly? There's two other attorneys that get to ask you questions.
Ms. Pickett, I see you have some
Takes a while.
documents with you today. Do you have her behavior
I
calendars?
do. That's
Okay.
August 3 yesterday.
Great, because I had a copy of some of these. I want to take you through, is this this looks like your copy. This is probably not a copy we can.
That's an original.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions about it and then maybe ask the court if we can make a copy and admit them into evidence.
All right.
If there's no objection. All right, so I'm just going to just kind of generally talk about them. You've got like a little piece of paper and it's got a calendar on it.
Right.
Right, and it has all the days. And then I want to make sure I understand, you said you have like a clipboard
Right.
for each child?
For each child, no, it's a clipboard, it has each child's name on it. It has the days of the week, and then like warning, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I have to redirect them or,
Okay, where are these kept?
those are kept in the children's folders, in the homework folder.
Okay, so they bring them home every day.
Yes,
And the parent gets an opportunity to look at them, and it looks like there's actually, on some of these, and we'll talk about it specifically in a minute, there's some initials.
right.
Right?
The parent is expected to initially, I'm afraid I put that in to make copies of, and I get back to school.
Okay, so, so the parent, so this goes home every day, and the parent gets to see it.
That's
And then when it comes back, I'm assuming you check to see if they've initialed it?
Yes,
So, because you want to keep the parents up to date on the
Exactly.
behaviors, is that right? All right, now you also have colors, so go ahead and tell the court about the colors.
well, pink is the ultimate. Pink, you had a perfect day, you've helped other people, you've done everything expected of you. Purple is just down from pink, that means you've had a wonderful day, you've done what you're supposed to do, you've gone along with everyone. Blue means you've made very good choices, and you've done what you're supposed to do. Green is ready to learn, which basically means you showed up and you didn't make any trouble. Orange is if you have gone into some altercation, or, no, it's yellow next. Yellow means that you haven't really been focused on work much, you need to think about it. Orange is that you had to repeatedly been pulled away from, you were not doing what you're supposed to. You've repeatedly been pulled away. We aren't getting any of those. And then red is parent contact, and that's basically if you did something that disrupted the entire class.
What is the threshold for suspending a second grader?
I don't know.
Well,
It's a mystery to me.
well, Delara has been suspended, I believe, 9 times this year. Is that right?
I believe so.
10 times?
Objection,
I'll sustain that. This, how about you can't respond?
10 times?
It could be. I
Okay,
don't
where
know
would that,
exactly.
who would have that information?
Ms. Getz,
Okay.
she's assistant principal.
All right, and how does the suspension occur? So tell me how that unfolds.
They go, the child will go to the office, and then the principal or the assistant principal makes a determination whether or not this is a suspension offense. We have a handbook from Metro that thick, and it has all kinds of things that you have to go through. I have to fill out a behavior report, which I have done for Gerard. They're online for the parents to see, or only the parent whose child is involved in the report can see it. No other parent can see it. But every time she does something that's disrupted the whole class, she's been sent to the office. I fill out a behavior report.
All right, and is there a zero tolerance policy for physical aggression?
There should be. It says there is.
Okay. Okay, so do you believe that based upon the comments that you've made that there have been some incidents where Delara has been physically aggressive and wasn't necessarily suspended for that
Yes.
incident? Okay. Can you, and if you need to look at this, you're welcome to, can you kind of give the court an idea of how many times she's been physically aggressive and actually was not suspended from school for that?
There have been times when she's been physically aggressive and I didn't even send her to the office, mainly because it was directed at me or at the parapro in my room.
Okay, so another 20, 30 times, probably over the course of the year?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, I'm talking, she threw a pencil and cut my arm with the lead. She was throwing it at me. I mean, that kind of thing, no, I didn't,
Yeah.
you know. Those were terrible.
And she is smart.
Oh, very.
What tell the court about her intellectual ability? Has she had an IQ test?
She has.
What is her IQ?
Dr. Ashford is out there. I believe it was around 126 or 130.
Your Honor, I only object at this point, that's going to cause for speculation.
I'll sustain
Okay,
that.
right, I'm guessing. I've seen it, but I can't remember.
I'll sustain that.
Dr. Ashford knows it.
Okay, so you have seen her report, so you're aware of it, right? But you didn't do the testing for that.
No.
Is that correct?
That's
Okay.
correct.
All right, so let's talk about it from something you would have personal knowledge of. Let's talk about what you see in the classroom as far as her academic ability. You guys have spelling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spelling and reading. Does she do well in spelling and reading?
She can spell very well when she will. I've got a picture on my phone of a spelling test that she didn't want to take it, so she just wrote, "Ha ha, you can't make me," across it.
You have that, you say it's a
I got that
picture
on
on your
my
phone.
phone. You
Could
wanna
you,
see
would
it?
you mind pulling that out,
Sure.
please?
Let's see.
Do you know the date on that?
I believe it's right before spring break, and since then I've been getting her to choose her own spelling words. We had a little problem because her first choice was all Pokemon words, and I'm not going to accept that. It had to be in a research base. So I gave her a book of DSA words, and they were all on her level or a little bit above.
Okay, hang on just a second. I'm gonna pass this up to the court, and I'm gonna ask her to email that, maybe, if we can we get the email so we can actually mark it as an exhibit?
Any objection? Okay.
All right, so that'll be exhibit number 1, I believe. Is that correct, Judge?
All right. Sure, you do it.
All right,
She'll
she
give you
sent
her
me
email.
an email. Can you email that?
Sure, I'd like to.
Okay.
But that's typical. If she doesn't want to do something, she won't. We just did a running record to test her reading level, and she is above grade level. So she is expected to do a writing portion to show that her writing is on the same level as her reading. It's all linked. And she just flat out refused to do it. Said, "I'm not going to write about it."
Okay, let's talk about her In other subjects, such as like science, do you guys do like some type of
We
science?
do a lot of hands-on science, she likes it.
She likes that?
Mhm.
Okay, is she good at it?
Yes,
And does she work with other kids when she does science?
no,
Okay. Are other kids working together sometimes on science
Yes.
projects? Okay, so even though there's like something, there's a subject she likes, it's hands-on, she likes to participate, and even in that academic environment, she does not like to work with others,
right.
right? Okay. All right, what else? You guys do like a social studies or something?
We do social studies, we do projects.
Okay.
Again, she usually ends up telling the other children they're stupid, so I pretty much just let her work on her own.
Okay, so do they have, with either science or social studies, are there projects that they do from home? I mean, that they do like a home project and bring in?
They have a
My
portion.
granddaughter's in first grade, and so I'm
Oh,
going through, helping with all this right now. That's why I know to ask these questions.
We had a social studies project where they wrote about a famous American, and in the portion, the art, well, they had like, they could choose. They could do, an art portion to it, or anything to use as a visual object while they presented their paper. And Delora just kind of drew a picture.
Okay, and so that was something that should have been a project that her father should have worked with her
Oh,
on?
no, she was supposed to do it herself.
Okay, but was it a take-home project?
It was something to be completed at home.
Okay.
But it was basically homework.
Right, okay, but it was something that she took home to work on and then to bring back and finish, right?
Or just to take home to do and then bring back to supplement the paper she wrote at school.
Okay. All right, wouldn't happen to be something that you would have a copy of, would it?
No, I don't. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Well, you
I said the project's back.
You surprised me with the last one, so I just had to ask. All right, so, what other art, you guys, they have art and music?
She loves art.
Okay, but that's outside of your presence, right? That's with another teacher? Is that-
Right, but she is allowed to take breaks, and she chooses to go to the art teacher for 10 minutes whenever she feels that she needs a break.
Okay. All right, so when she goes to the art teacher for 10 minutes during the day, I'm assuming the art teacher is trying to run some other class, right? She has classes all day. So
Yes.
Delara takes a break, goes down to whatever class that she's got going on.
She has a place for Delora. Delora just goes in, she'll give her clay, give her drawing materials, whatever, and she'll just kind of sit there and do her thing for 10 minutes.
And then she times her?
I don't know how closely she times her. It's about 10 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, she's not gonna say if Laura's halfway through something, gotta go back,
Okay.
It's just about 10 minutes. She said, okay, you need to go back soon, be finishing up.
All right, and what about music?
Music, she did not like it all at first. In fact, she still, she had a tantrum where she scattered all the musical instruments a couple of weeks ago. But the last 2 times she's been, she's had a good time. We have changed things around. We have put in that she can have 15 minutes of art at the beginning of the period and then go to the ones that she does not like, music and PE. She loves computers. She never wants a break there. But music and PE, she gets like 10 or 15 minutes of art, then she goes to the other for the rest of the time.
Okay.
And that has helped.
All right, and let's talk about computer. Do you teach computer?
No, I do not.
Okay, so that's kind of outside of your presence
Right.
as well. All right. And any other classes I missed? Did I pretty much hit them all?
I think you hit them all.
Okay. Do the children have like reading goals and stuff? Like
Yes.
reading a certain number of books outside of just the regular day-to-day class?
Mhm.
All right, tell us about that.
Well, the children get AR points. They read books, take tests over them. They can do projects like book reports. They can make an advertisement for a book they really like and present it to the class. She didn't want to do it.
Okay, so
She
she's not,
does read. She reads a lot. I think her mother's given her some books she likes very much.
but she doesn't participate in the AR program.
She does not, and she will not present the books or write about them.
All right, how many times have you seen Father at school this year?
Several times. I don't know, maybe 7.
7 times? Were those on times where he had come to the school on disciplinary issues?
Yes, he did. He has come to pick her up. from school a couple of times, and that wasn't a disciplinary thing.
Okay. All right, so how many times have you actually, during the school year, had a sit-down conference with the father regarding Delara's behavior?
We did, in November, there was a parent conference, and I had one with Ms. Hubble too. Also, when we have meetings, I talked to the father about Delara. When we have her IEP, well, first it was ST meetings and then her IEP meeting.
Okay, so how many ST meetings have you had this year?
I'd have to look back at notes. I'm guessing 2. I
No,
think
I'm
2.
not Jeff, because he's gonna try to lock her in, she's trying to speculate at this point.
I just asked her what she knew. I mean, she's not speculating, she participated in
Yeah,
it.
if you don't
That's
remember,
not-
it's fine to say you don't
I
remember.
Yes.
I hear you.
Okay, so, and I'm just asking you to the best of your recollection. So do you have one IEP meeting, is that correct?
It was when we wrote the IEP, yes.
Right, and that, you know, just about when that was. Was it after Christmas or before
It
Christmas?
was right at the beginning of TCAP or 10 Ready or whatever they call it. So that would have been about mid-April.
Okay, okay. Now, do you know why, and again, this may be this is not a trick question, I'm just trying to find out what you know, why she was on an S-Team program, which is a 504, right?
No,
Versus-
504 is medication.
Okay, but you can have any type of diagnosis and be under 504, do you know
She
that?
didn't have any diagnosis. that I
Okay,
know
so
of.
why was she under an S-Team?
Because of her, a word that means a lot. I didn't want to say constant, but because of her many interruptions or disruptions in class, and it was the children could not learn.
Okay, and who called for that S-Team?
I did.
And you said she's, to your knowledge, she's never had a diagnosis up until we got
Up
this
until now,
report?
right.
Okay. All right, so, and then who called for the IEP meeting?
It came out of the S teams, that we thought that she needed to have, a psychological evaluation. That's when we called in Dr. Ashford. Who's right outside.
Okay. And that were, again, was after Christmas sometime?
Oh,
right?
yes, that.
Was that after
Probably-
that IEP meeting?
No, the IEP meeting was when she presented to
Okay.
us what she had to say, and we decided what was probably best for Delora.
All right, and I just pulled that out and looked at it. I was gonna get the date on it. I already did it with it now, but anyway, that, where's my psychological folder? Here it is, I'm sorry. I think this is gonna be presented through another witness, but it shows here the date of the evaluation was February 2017. Does that sound about
That's
right?
right, yeah.
Okay. Did they pull her out of class to do that?
No, actually, she pulled herself out. She was, Dr. Ashford can tell you the story, but she was in the office for.
Okay, I only want you to testify about what you have personal knowledge of. So my question was Delara taken out of the classroom to be able to do the testing?
No, she had attacked another student and was in the office with the guidance counselor.
Okay,
And Dr. Ashford saw her in there.
okay. And then she did the testing while she was in there?
Right.
All right. Well, did she know the testing was gonna happen that day?
No,
Had she been told anything about going to be able to have some testing?
no, she volunteered to do it.
What do you
She
mean
just-
she volunteered?
Dr. Ashford is a very smart lady.
Okay, now again, you can only testify as what you have personal knowledge of, so I don't want you.
But,
Well, but I don't
yes.
want you talking about what Delara's interaction was with Dr. Ashford.
Oh, okay, no, she just announced to the secretary that she needed a very bright third
Okay,
grader.
were you
I'm
there?
doing it again, I'm sorry, I'm not used to this.
Okay, that's okay.
You're fine,
I'm
you're
gonna
doing
stop
fine, Ms.
you.
Pickett.
Yeah, if we could give her just 1 minute, because I think we're going a little bit fast for her right now, and she's trying her best to.
Oh, she's doing fine.
She's
We're good.
okay.
just-
She just, what she can, and Miss Regular will work a little better on her question. She just needs to know if you were like there in the room when
I
it
was not
happened.
there in the room.
So if you're not in the room, then you can't tell about
It's
it.
just
Right.
hearsay.
Right.
Correct.
No, don't
got
don't try to be a lawyer.
But you're learning. You're learning.
Stick with teaching. I'll
a
tell you
fun
when it's
profession.
lawyer time.
You're doing
Okay, but I
fine.
want to go back to my question, because I don't think you understood my question. Back when this testing was done in February, what I was trying to ask was, do you know whether or not Delara knew that this testing sequence was coming up? Had that been discussed with her in
It has
advance?
not been discussed with her.
Okay, all right, so that was the question.
Okay.
All right, now, all right, so the things that I've heard you say that you've done for her behavior appear to be primarily behavioral modification things, like rewards,
Yes.
is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. Have you ever had any conversations with Dr. Janie Berryman?
Yes.
When did you talk to Dr. Berryman?
I talked to Dr. Merriman by phone.
Just give me an approximate time period.
I believe it was about February.
Okay.
Yes, it was, because it was, yes, it was about the middle of February.
Okay. All right, have you ever talked to a therapist named Carrie Lloyd?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Any other therapists or outside providers that you've had any conversations with regarding Delara?
No, the Encore teacher at school has Delora. I hadn't mentioned her before, but she works with Delora.
Okay, the Encore, and let's just, again, for the record, kind of be clear what that is.
Encore is a class for gifted. They meet once a week.
Okay. And is Delara in the Encore program?
Yes.
And when did she go into the Encore program?
She was in it in first grade, I believe.
Okay. All right, now I'm going to come back to your calendars here for a minute, and we'll get a copy of these and put them in the record. And what I want you to do, we'll take them one at a time. August, and what I would like for you to do, I think it's going to be the easiest, since this is all your handwriting, right?
Mhm, it is.
It's going to help
Sorry.
us. I think it's going to help us just to kind of go through and you sort of identify particular events that happened that month. So I'm looking at August the 8th, and it looks like you had quite a note there. Can you read that into the record, August the 8th, 2016?
She was on orange. She went to the principal due to a tantrum. She was hitting and kicking because she did not want to do the vocabulary worksheet.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, let's go back to Friday the 5th.
Yes, that was indoor recess, and she was playing with Legos with some other children. I was at my desk. She started throwing Legos, like not one little Lego, but like taking figures she made and hurling them at my desk.
Okay. Did she hit you or anybody else?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to August the 19th.
Mhm. She kicked a child then.
Okay. August the 22nd.
She hit, kicked, and taught, and we had the guidance counselor talk to her.
Okay, August the 23rd.
Can't read my writing. Hitting, kicking, called guidance counselor, who is talking to her now. I write these at the end of the day, and I do it for every single child.
Okay, and then the 25th.
That was when I was at a workshop, name calling, and the substitute teacher wrote name calling, recess, kicked, and bit 2 different students.
Okay. And the 26th.
Still at the workshop, the substitute wrote, she was on yellow, she kicked, hit a student, threw a desk, during computer time.
Okay. All right, in September, let's look at the 1st.
Okay, that was the day she crushed my toe. She had a tantrum, she kicked me, some other teachers. She threw a desk that landed on my toe, and she threw chairs at some children in the room.
And September 2nd.
She made 2 children cry by repeatedly telling them they were fat.
September 7th.
She had a problem in Encore and had to go to the office.
September 9th.
She kicked and hit during music and hit children outside at recess.
September 12th.
She had a good day until after lunch, and she threw pencils at children. I had to call guidance counselor.
Okay. Challenge
It is. I
yours.
can be there, right? It's doing
September 14th,
problems on the playground.
September 16th.
She kicked children, threw sharp pencils at teacher. She went to the principal's office twice and ran away from my classroom.
Okay. The 21st.
She made 3 trips to the office during encore, during lunch, and during math.
And the 22nd.
Better day. She just stuck a child with a plastic fork at lunch.
Oh, so that was a good day for her.
That was a good day.
All right, and then we have a red on the 26th. It doesn't say why. You don't.
Okay, let's see, BTS not keeping hands to herself, not being respectful, and playing. I didn't write anything, it probably means I was too mad.
Yeah.
I mean, we're human, I'm just like, "Urgh," some days.
Okay.
But I mean, not to her, but it's just like, I just can't write anything on.
29th.
She kicked a child, refused to work, ran around the room, sent to office. She wanted me in the paraphrase to chase her around the room, which we refused to do.
And the 30th. I can't read.
Okay, refused to go to PE.
Okay. all
She
right.
was staying in my room, refusing to go to PE.
All right, in October, and there's something about, I had 2 separate Octobers.
Yes, I wrote on the wrong line,
Oh,
you know, and so I did another calendar because I was filling in for the future week. And so
So do you need the other one too? Because it looks like there's nothing up.
yeah, I don't see that. I don't know what happened.
Okay, hang on just a second, because I want to make sure we have everything.
I think the other one, yeah, you can see where I put purple down here and then I drew an
Just hang
arrow.
on, just hold on,
Okay.
let's just speak. So,
That's the same one. No, it isn't. It isn't. Okay. So up here, this,
so that goes up there.
bunch of additions, and she had a great day the next day. And then,
Okay, so let's try to interpret this so that we're clear on the record. All right, so this entry would be for the 12th.
Right.
Okay, so say what it was on, what was
On
the
the
behavior
12th.
on the 12th?
she tried to bite me, she kicked children, she ran out of the playground, and it took 2 adults to get her because she was running around outside.
Okay. All right, and then, which day is that?
That one is for the 27th.
Okay, on the 27th?
She was still in blue, but she was fine in my class, but she had a problem in the cafeteria, throwing and wiping food on other people and on the floor. Rest of the day was good.
Okay, all right, so do you recognize as being this your handwriting as well?
Yes, I do.
All right, so I'm just gonna put these both in here,
Mhm.
okay, for the
Okay.
court. Oops. All right, let's talk about November. November the 2nd.
She had a problem in PE, but otherwise a good day.
On the 7th,
She kicked children in the playground. She hit 3 children during Gator time, which is our RTI time in the morning. She shoved another child in the hall. She put bread in a child's hair at lunch.
okay. What about the 10th?
Red, she attacked a boy in reading and threw sand in another child's face that would have been on the playground, and she knocked a chair over. And she knocked a child over on the ground and lay on top of her. The child was crying till I would let her out.
And on the 14th?
She hit a child in PE, but otherwise okay day.
And on the 22nd?
She had a good morning and early afternoon, but then was sitting on the playground.
All right, and on the 30th,
Let's see, 3 separate incidents today. Scratched a girl on the bus, led the classroom during gator time, left math class in the afternoon. She completely missed math, science, and much of reading. So she wasn't in my room much at all that day.
on December, she had, it looks like, a few good days at
Oh,
the
yeah.
beginning of December.
She did, she had a
Right.
great day on the 9th.
Okay. And you also blue and green's pretty good,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
All right, now let's go over to orange here on the 13th.
She refused to go to
Oh,
art.
wait, this one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
13.
Orange, these are down here, CW classwork not completed. RA is related art, she had trouble. She would not be following directions, FD. And R is not being respectful of others, and the color codes are here.
Okay. All right, and then on the 14th, you started to say that. Go ahead and say that.
I'm not sure, she's in orange, she refused to go to art. She ran out of reading during math.
Okay. All right, now this is January. Let's talk about January. What is S? Suspended.
Suspended, yes.
Well, okay, so if it's just a big S on that day, it
It means
indicates.
suspended.
Okay.
Mhm.
So she was suspended on the 5th, the 6th,
And the 10th.
and the 10th. She come back on the 9th.
I'm not sure. I don't know why. That's been anything on it.
Okay, let's talk about the 11th, January 11th.
Okay, Red, she kicked the Encore teacher and several first graders. They were in line through the hall and she was running back through the building and she stopped to kick several of them and kept running. She was supposed to be in the office. She left class. She kept running out of the office and the secretary would have to go chase her.
I'm sorry, which one is it?
That one right there.
All right, let's talk about the 13th.
She left the classroom during reading. She would not talk to me about why.
And on the 18th,
She kicked children, kicked the Encore teacher.
and the 23rd.
She had a tantrum in class, and by that, a tantrum is screaming, throwing things.
Okay, the 27th.
She left the classroom, interrupted students who were working in the hall with verbal outbursts and growling at them.
Okay, the 30th
Difficult morning, good afternoon.
and the 31st.
She had a good day.
Okay. All right, in February, looks like on the 1st.
She
what's
was
it
in
say?
office most of the day due to behavior in music. I believe that was the day that she bit the parapro in
Okay.
music.
All right, now you don't have anything on the 3rd or the 6th. Do you know why?
She may have been ill, she may not have been there. No,
Because they don't see
I'm
fathers
trying
and
to
initials.
remember, she
Okay.
might have been out, she may have been ill, I don't know.
Okay.
I just get the
All right, let's go to the 7th,
bad morning, great afternoon.
and let's go to the 14th,
She had a good afternoon after a difficult morning.
and on the 15th.
In the office most of the day due to a problem during program practice.
Okay. On the 22nd,
She was good in classroom but left music class. The principal had to come get her in music.
and on the 23rd,
Bad morning, but very good afternoon.
28th.
Left classroom, scribbled, oh, that was the day of the spelling test, scribbled over test, was rude to teacher, left, but the afternoon was much better.
Okay, so that's the one that we just marked as the exhibit, right? The one on your phone?
Actually, no, because we get spelling test on Thursday, that was a different test. I believe that was her math test that day.
Okay, so she's done that more than
Oh, yes,
once.
she's done that more than once, I just thought it was funny. You can't make me hot.
Multiple times, has she done that?
No, she usually just scribbles over the test.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So other than the one that you showed us and the one that you've marked on the calendar, are there other times when she just scribbles on the test and won't do it?
Right.
Okay. All right, let's go on now. So we've got March, and let's talk about March the 2nd.
Had a bad morning, but pulled it together for the rest of the day.
Okay. And the
Good
13th?
morning, fought at lunch, and spent the afternoon with the guidance counselor.
All right, on the 31st?
Very difficult day. She left the class twice. She yelled at the art teacher to shut up, and she hit the paragraph.
Okay, and you marked on that when walked out of class. Does she do that sometimes, just get up and walk out of class?
She does.
Does she do that on times that you've not marked on here? I mean, are there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, she does it pretty much every day.
Okay.
And then she just waits for me in the hall, and I come out and talk, and sometimes she'll come back in, or she'll decide she needs a break.
Okay. All right, let's talk about April.
Oh, boy, she got
Yeah.
mad there.
Yeah, the 5th, let's talk about that. We're looking at April the 5th, 2017. Tell me about what you wrote there.
A child, well, what I saw was that she ran out and shook the child, talked to her first and started shaking her and wouldn't let go. She had to be sort of pulled away from the child. And she also wouldn't complete her math in class, couldn't do any vernacular.
All right, now we're gonna mark these as an exhibit, but it looks like at the top that there's a mark that goes up from April the
She wrote that.
5th. Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you, and I've got two little notes here, and you're saying both of those are Delara's handwriting?
They are.
And what does she write over here?
She wrote her
Hearsay, Your
poems.
Honor.
Well, it's
It's
not
Laura's
being-
handwriting, it's hearsay, Your Honor.
Well, it's not being offered for the truth of the matter, it's being written, it's being offered for what her response was to the teacher's note.
Well, if it's her response and what her response was, and it's
Understand.
not.
Well, you don't know yet, because you haven't heard it.
I'll sustain.
All right, so Delara reacted to what you had put on the behavior calendar.
Mhm.
All right, has she, I didn't see that she had ever done that before. Had she done that in the past?
No, she's torn up the behavior calendar, but she's never worked with none before.
Okay, so tell the court about that.
This one?
Well, about tearing up behavior calendar.
Oh, she didn't like what I put it on her behavior, so she tore up her behavior calendar. So I emailed her father what it was and what happened, and just started a new one. That was January.
Okay.
Oh, that's probably why there's not anything on there, because
No,
I couldn't
no, she
remember.
was suspended.
Oh, that one does say.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just go on. All right, let's talk about the 6th,
Okay.
April 6th.
Good morning until about 10, several office visits due to anchor another student, which was the same student.
Okay. 13th of April.
Oh, I did have a conference on the 12th. Hard morning, good afternoon.
Okay. And on the 27th of April.
Green, it was, she had been on blue, and then I had to mark her down to green because of the tantrum at the end of the day. And then on the 28th, she was on blue.
Okay, and then in May, you've got here, today's May the 10th, so she had some blue, green, purple days the first 5
She has
days.
been really well, done well at reining herself in, and I'm finding out, I'm getting much more attuned to how to avoid problems.
Okay, tell us about that.
It's just a body language that, or a look on her face, and I've become much more aware of it and can ask her if she needs a break.
All right, now she was suspended in April, right?
Let's see. I didn't write anything on April the 7th. She may have been suspended due to, on that day. It said several office visits due to anchor another student. I think she was suspended on Friday.
All right, if you saw a behavior detail report from April the 6th, 2017, would that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna ask that you just take a look at that, and don't read from it, just look at it yourself, and then hand it back to me.
Yes.
Okay, just hand it back. Does that refresh your recollection of what
Yes, it
happened on
does.
April the 6th? And did she get suspended then?
I believe she did.
Okay.
Does it, I believe it says at the top of that page, suspension.
Okay. All right, I'm going to ask that you mark as exhibit number 2 when we get an
All right,
opportunity.
any objection?
No,
Make a couple copies.
No objection? All right, we'll make copies And then make that an exhibit C. How many copies do y'all need? One for everybody? Everybody need a copy?
3, 4, it looks like 4 copies. Give her original back. All right, now,
I'm sorry, what were you
I
gonna
was just
say?
gonna say, in case it's easier, I only need May, but.
It'll probably be easy, just the whole packet. Thank you, though.
all right, now this report was provided, doesn't say the date it was completed. When's the first time you recall seeing Delara's psychoeducational report?
The one that got transferred to it, the day that we had the meeting, I believe that was April 12th.
Okay.
I didn't see it before then.
And what changes were made in either your classroom conduct or the way you dealt with Delara? What kind of changes did you make as part of reviewing that psychological?
I didn't really change my classroom. I have had Delara put out to sit, she has her own little area, and she sits right over by me. She has someone to check on her in the mornings, check midday, and check at the end of the day. And if she's had a good day, she gets, I believe it's 20 minutes or so in Ms. Wilhelm's room, and she can draw whatever she wants to do, go to the computer, whatever she wants.
Okay. These children that wrote you letters that they were afraid of her, how many of those do you think you have or received?
Probably about 50,
Okay. So how many kids are in the class?
18.
All right, so children have written you multiple letters.
Yes,
And what do you do with those letters?
I've got them in a file.
All right, so you have a file in your desk at school or in your classroom?
I do have in my classroom, yes.
Okay. And what's your intent? Where are you saving those? What's your intent to do with those?
Well, it just seems significant to me to show that the children are afraid of her.
Okay, and do you date them or anything when the kids give them to you?
I think I dated the top, like it would be after a major upheaval. I think I may have dated the top one, they're not all dated.
Okay, but
they
you would
all
be,
tell about what happened.
all right,
So I
so,
can pretty well narrow it down.
okay, so there is like an event and then some of the kids would write something down. Do they do it voluntarily? Do you ask them to do it? How does that come about?
There were 3 major events that I said, if you want to write about it, we started social emotional learning, and it seems to be, I'm supposed to meet with them, talk about their feelings about things. So we talked about how we felt when that happened. She wanted Dora was not in the room. And I said, if you want to write it down, that's fine. I did not make them write anything. I did not tell them to write anything. But one of the things that the children write about their feelings.
Okay, so the children are writing about their experience with Delara, right?
Right.
Okay. And ultimately, at the end of the year, when the year finishes up here in a couple more weeks, what are you going to do with those letters?
I hadn't thought about it.
Is there any school policy or anything that gives you
No,
any?
this was strictly my idea.
Okay, so if the mother subpoenaed a copy of those letters, then she would be able to get a copy of those letters from your
I
file.
don't see why not.
Okay. Have you provided those letters to anybody else?
I did show them to, I showed some of them to our assistant principal.
Did you share them with Dr. Ashford?
I don't believe I did. I think I told her that the children had been them. I don't believe she's seen them.
Did you share them with Dr. Berryman?
No.
Okay. Anybody else that you can think of? Okay. And
But
who's
it was
the,
just something I thought was significant, so I kept it.
and who's the assistant principal?
Miss Gadd, she's not.
Oh, okay. Now, do you talked about emails that you received from Ms. Hubble, and you've seen her use the word jerk in an email. Do you read those emails to Delara?
No.
Okay, so you don't have any personal evidence as you sit here today, or any personal experience as you sit here today, that you've ever heard Ms. Hubble call Mr. Guider a jerk in the presence of Delara. Is
No.
that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, was Ms. Hubble invited to the IEP meeting?
I believe that she was told that, I'm trying to remember, she was not there. I believe she was invited to be there by phone, or, no, they asked her to send any concerns she had, and they would be. Ms. Getz would know about that.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just ask her then. What about the S-team meetings that you talked about? There was a couple that you attended earlier in the year. Was Ms. Hubble present at those?
No, she was not.
Was she invited to those?
There was a restraining order that she could not come into the building when Delora was there.
Okay, did you ever see that restraining order?
Yes.
And how would I find out the dates of those S-team meetings? What would be the best source of information for that?
I can check her community folder.
Okay, will Ms. Getz have those dates of the S-team meetings?
She might. It would be in her community.
Okay. I have previously been provided some school records. If you looked at some school records, would you be able to kind of flip through here quickly and maybe see if the ST meetings are indicated in here?
I can certainly flip through there. I'll move
Okay.
quickly.
Okay, I'm just.
This is first grade, 15th.
Well, that's a
okay,
whole,
well,
yeah.
Here's, that's one of them. Where's the date? This is the right. Let me get the other one, the other page.
Here's support team referral.
I had difficulty finding the dates on those myself, so.
Yeah, we didn't do as well with that, did we? Okay, this one is, the observation checklist was done on September 21st. And that was when we had a behavior analyst there.
And who was that behavior analyst?
I'm hoping it has her name here, because I haven't seen her much since then. I think her name is Sarah somebody, and I can't remember. But she is with Metro.
And Your Honor, I guess I'm objecting, I don't know who's keeping these records, if these aren't her records, and we're asking her to interpret what the records are, and it sounds like we're asking her to speculate at this point, or interpret someone else's records.
Also stay there, especially the first grade stuff.
Yeah, not the first grade. My question
Whose
was,
records are they? Because if it may be a better,
they're the school records, there are records.
maybe
that-
something Miss Getz might be the better person to.
Okay, I was just
Question
asking her if
first.
she could identify from here, those dates, if
Okay,
those
I'll
dates
just
are
say that.
important that I ask her questions around. So that was my question about if you could tell, I don't want you to describe the records in here, but if because they're school records and you might recognize an S-team meeting note faster than I would, whether or not you could recognize an S-team meeting note and give me the date, that's all I wanted.
Right, I'm just seeing things I filled out in preparation for the S-team, or after, it might have been after an S-team, and I was following up on the behavior analyst.
Okay, so you don't know?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
Now, can you tell me how you, I asked you if you'd seen a restraining order to keep Ms. Hubble from coming to school. Can you tell me how that came to you, how you got a copy of it, or how you saw it?
It's in her queue, I have no idea.
So, I
I'll
mean,
see, well, no, I'm not gonna assume, right?
so did somebody come in and hand it to you?
Not to me.
Okay, did Ms. Getz give it to you? Hold on, what I want to know, you said there was a restraining order to keep her from coming to school. What I want to know right now, ma'am, is exactly your personal information out as how you came to that knowledge that there was a restraining order.
Ms. Getz told me the restraining order.
Objection, Your Honor. Again, she's testified that she has seen the order already. again, I'm trying to, I guess my objection to is she's gonna say hearsay of how, what was told to her. Ms. Getz would be the best person to explain that, but if she's saying already testified earlier that she saw it herself, the restraining order, and that's what she was going off of as to the reasons why the restraining order was in place.
What's the objection?
Again, you're asking her something that she doesn't have personal knowledge of.
Okay, that was my question to her, is how she came to knowledge about a restraining order.
I checked the King file and it was in there.
Okay. All right, now, were you directed by somebody to look for it, or were you directed by somebody that it was in there, that there was a restraining order in there?
Yes.
Okay. Who is the person who directed you to look at the King file?
Ms. Getz.
Okay. Here it is. That's good. I think I'll pass witness.
All right, Ms. Mack?
And we did I'm sorry, I do want these admitted as exhibit number 2. They are now been copied for the record.
Yes.
You have your original stamp.
Good morning, how are you today? I know I look a little bit different, so let's just get that on the record. You testified to my colleague on direct examination. And when I say my colleague, so because you've never been through this before. So, Ms. Reeves?
Digby now.
Digby.
Oh, I apologize, I didn't know.
Right.
Digby, congratulations.
Ms. Reese Digby asked you
Digby.
some questions, and then my other colleague, Ms. Regulate, came behind you and asked you some questions. And so I'm gonna ask you some questions about all of that stuff, okay? You said you've been employed with Gower how long now?
19 years.
19 years. Is Gower a traditional school like any other school in Davidson County? to your
That's
knowledge?
fun.
It's the best one, right?
Hijack. Not here as an expert.
So you've had some questions that asked about Delara and how she was in your classroom, okay? And my colleague, Ms. Regulate, just went through the calendars that you had coded in there, and based upon your information and belief of Delara's behavior in the classroom setting.
That's right.
Okay, and you testified earlier that you didn't believe or know whether or not it was any of the, in fact, that the parents had all done what you asked them to do, correct? In regards to any suggestions that you had ever made in regards to Delara, any meetings that you've ever had, you meet with the parents?
I have met with the parents. I don't remember really giving them any suggestions.
Okay, all right, so the reason that I'm asking that is to show, again, when you had those meetings with Mr. Gadare or those emails with Ms. Hubble, you never made any suggestions as to what would help you in the classroom with Delara, did you?
No.
Okay, and so when you were learning about Delara in August, that was your first time meeting Delara?
It was.
Okay, she had never been in your classroom before?
No.
You had never been her teacher before?
Correct.
And upon entry, what was the first day of school in August of 2016?
The first day of school would have been August 5th or 6th, somewhere in
Okay.
there, first week of August.
Mhm.
And I noticed that she was not too pleased when she came in,
Uh-huh.
but then, you know.
So the first day of school, Delara already had issues to your
Right,
understanding and your information and belief?
I believe so.
Okay, who brought her on that first day of school?
I believe her father did.
Okay, you testified earlier, and I'm gonna come back to that. You testified earlier that at some point, there was some times where you had some sit-downs with parent-teacher conferences with mom and dad. You talked about in November where you met.
No, separately.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
But
yes,
mom and
separately,
dad.
never together.
Right, so this is August. And
Right.
can you tell us again, what month did you actually meet with both mom and dad?
We had an open house
Open house,
that
okay.
week. And, Miss.
That week, what week?
The week of, actually, it was the second week.
Okay.
The week after we came back to school, the next Thursday, we had an open house.
I have to slow you down just a little bit. There's a reason why I'm saying this, okay? So when we're talking about that week in August or that week sometime later?
We started school on, I believe on Wednesday, and the very next week, like 8 days later, then we had an open house.
Okay, all right. So you first meet Delora, you hadn't met her parents yet?
I had met her father.
You had met her
prior to
father.
school. I had not met her mother.
Okay. All right, so open house.
Mhm.
Is that still in the month of August,
Yes,
2016?
yes.
You meet which parents?
She came with her father, and then later the mother came in.
Okay. Did they ever come to congregate together in that month of August?
No.
Okay. So you met with both parents separately in the month of August?
Well, Delora and her father were there when the mother came in.
Okay, so they were all there. So you talked about an order of protection that you knew about.
I didn't know about it then.
You didn't know about it then. Did that confuse you when you found out about that order of
Yes.
protection?
I spent most of this year confused.
Okay, okay. So not aware of the order of protection in August of 2016.
That's correct.
Were you aware that Delora wasn't visiting with her mother in August of 2016?
No.
Did Delora, at any point when she was having these outbursts and behaviors, did she ever state her father was doing anything to her?
Judge, I object. She's attempting to solicit
I
hearsay.
say that.
I asked if Delora did any outbursts.
Did Delora ever state during her outburst?
I'm sorry, did Delora ever make any outbursts in regards to not getting her needs met in the father's home?
Again, Judge, now she's attempting to solicit hearsay by saying it herself and ask her true or false. So
I also say that.
In August, you weren't aware of the order of protection, correct? When did you become aware of the order of protection?
When Ms. Hubble showed up to have lunch, however.
Slow down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ms. Hubble shows up to have lunch. We're in the month of August right now.
I believe it was the very end of August.
Okay, end of August. Of what year?
2016.
Okay. Ms. Hubble shows up for lunch.
And she says that the order of protection ended like June 16th, something of that. And that was all the secretary had record of.
Okay.
And I think I just told you the wrong thing because I knew there had been one, but I was not aware of any current one at that time.
Okay. All right. So she shows up for lunch.
Yes.
How does that take effect? Does she check in at the office? What do you know?
I didn't see her.
You didn't see her. So when do you begin to have any personal knowledge of that day that she shows up for lunch in the end of
When I
August?
picked the children up from lunch and her mother was with Delora.
Okay. And when a parent visits for lunch at Gower Elementary, is there a special seating that you all have, or do they sit with the classroom?
We have a stage at Gower, and
Say
there's
that one more time.
a stage in the cafeteria. It doubles as a meeting room. So usually the children with parents get to sit on the stage, and they can pick a friend to go sit with them.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they chose not to sit on the stage at that time. I believe she sat, the stage may have been made up for something. I believe she sat with Delora at those little tiny tables.
Okay, all right. So you see her with your own eyes, the mother there sitting with Delora. And are there other children around?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And at the time that you see her there with Delora, you don't believe that there's any restrictions in place at that point? Is that what your testimony was?
I did know that there had been one, but and I checked it that day. The last we had in King said that it ended in June.
Okay, so at that point in time, all you had knowledge of was the order of protection. correct?
Yes,
You were not aware of this court's orders and restrictions on the mother at that time, were you?
not at all.
Had anyone at that point suggested to you on that day of August 2016 that there were some restrictions in place for the mother? Or did you come to understand that there were some issues with the mother being alone with Delara?
I can't say that I knew it then.
Right,
I knew that Laura lived with her father,
right.
but then that's true. I mean, many children live with one parent, still see the other.
Right.
I don't think I knew, well, I definitely did not know that there was a problem. Because they were both together. I thought they were together at the open house.
Uh-huh.
And they were both smiling, it didn't seem to be any problem.
And at any point, did Mr. Gadara say to you that Ms. Hubble cannot have any unsupervised contact with Delara on open house night?
I don't remember him saying it, or I would definitely not let her have lunch with her.
Okay.
I did find out the day after,
The day after
the lunch.
the lunch. How did you come to understand, or what did you come to understand the day after?
Again, Judge, I'm going to ask that she lay a foundation for personal knowledge.
That's the statement. You asked her how first.
How did you come to understand that there was an issue the day after?
Because Dolores' father called the school.
Okay?
I don't believe he called me personally, I believe he called and talked.
Not only what you had personal knowledge of,
Yes.
what was, okay. So, you came to understand from who at the school that there was an issue?
I can't remember if it was Miss Frazier, our principal, or Miss Getz, our assistant principal.
We're at
One of them.
that point in August, we're still in August of 2016 at that
Right.
point? Okay. At that point, outside of the open house and the lunch event at school, had the mother come to the school for anything?
No,
Okay.
she had called me. but
Okay,
not from the school.
hold on 1 second. Because open house
Mhm.
and lunch, 2 occasions only. And one of those occasions, the father was there.
Yes,
Okay. Now, the day after you have knowledge of there's an issue, or at least some knowledge that there's an issue.
right.
On that day that Ms. Hubble was there in the cafeteria, were there any DCS workers or therapeutic supervisors that were there that day?
I didn't see any.
Okay, you didn't see any other strange adults sitting around? I'm sorry, and I say strange, but to try to help you recollect anything.
We have a lot of parents who come and eat lunch with their children. It would be hard for me to tell if they're a parent or a DCS agent or what.
Okay,
They all have visitor stickers.
okay. All right. Now, you come to find out there's an issue from your administration, sounds like. What are your next steps at that point for Delara?
I'm not quite sure.
You're very detailed, and based upon how your testimony has been so far.
Mhm.
When you find out there's some issue between this family, more than what you had known originally, what do you begin to put in place for Delara?
I guess I became more protective of her. I realized that she had problems that would make her not interact well with the other children.
Judge, I'm going to object and move to strike as far as an opinion, some
just
type of an opinion.
Just what did you begin to put in place for Delara? Anything different from what you were doing before you found out?
I think mostly getting her own space.
Getting her own space. Is that different from what you would do for any other child in your classroom?
Any child that I knew, I would do it for any child who had problems getting along with others, and there are 2 other children in the class who have their own little spaces, same as she does.
So, isn't it true that Gower is a more therapeutic setting kind of school than the traditional school setting?
Judge, I'm going to object to that. I don't know if this is some type of an opinion, but again, she can't really give an opinion as to comparing the school to school. She's not being offered as an education specialist or expert.
the behaviors that you have seen with Delara, my colleague asked you, you documented a lot of behaviors, and some you didn't. And you said there should be some zero tolerance there, right? Is what you testified to earlier. Then, in essence, Delara should have been suspended a whole lot more, correct?
Again, well, never mind, I'll strike
Is that my
that.
opinion?
I'll withdraw that objection.
Again, based upon, we were talking about your policies and your procedures. Delara should have been suspended and had been taken out of school, out of the classroom setting on a more regular basis based upon all of these months.
That's definitely my opinion.
Yeah.
That's definitely my opinion, and I have said that I was concerned about the safety of the other children.
So now we're gonna go into, you had safety and concern for the other children beginning in what month, ma'am?
In August,
Mm-hmm.
actually probably after she was throwing those Lego figures that very second day of school, I was concerned that she might become violent with them.
Okay. Now, when you had these concerns, you said you had email correspondence with the mother,
Yes,
and you had the contact information of the father.
yes,
You also had a behavior chart that communicated with the home.
right.
At any point, did you state to Mr. Gidere, because you knew he had custody at that point,
Right.
correct? That you had safety concerns for the children and Delara in that classroom in the month of August?
I can't remember, I'm sorry.
In your August, and I'm gonna go to that, okay, you can pull it up if you want. In August, did it state anywhere in August, did y'all give her copies back?
We did.
Yes.
In the month of August,
Mhm.
did you have on anywhere from August 5th to August 30th, call to parent? Any red?
Oh, that's just if there are I mean, I might talk to the parent anytime.
Okay,
Uh-huh,
you may talk to the parent anytime.
uh-huh.
So at any point on here, on your behavior calendar, did you say, I'm gonna call the parent in regards to concerns I have for safety of other children in the classroom?
No,
Why?
I don't know. I think I talked to Miss Hubble a couple of times on the phone.
Okay,
And,
so you, not only did you email Ms. Hubble, but you had phone calls with Ms. Hubble?
I had a couple of them.
Okay.
No, I guess I thought that writing this down was enough for her father.
You thought that writing it down was enough for her father to see that you had some concerns for safety of other children in the classroom? Did you ever write a referral or of any sort to call a meeting before August? I mean, after August?
No, not until September 1st, I believe.
Okay. Now we get into September. So you said you had some calls with mom, emails,
Mhm.
and these behavior calendars are going home.
Mhm.
So you would think that the parents are on notice that there's a problem,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. And I sent a picture of my foot to both parents.
You sent a picture of your foot.
Yes, with all the bruises.
Okay, what day did that happen?
It's
The
not-
broken foot?
It happened
September 1st.
September,
I'm sorry, go ahead. I said September 1st.
September 1st, and then, I believe it was on the 16th that, she stomped on it.
So wait, let me be clear. September 1st, she had already
She
done.
had broken it, and I was, but I was still walking on it. On the 16th, I took her to the office, and she stomped on it going there. It swelled up a lot more over the weekend. I went to, on the 19th, got an x-ray.
Okay. And I'm gonna ask you at that point, did you make a referral to call a meeting to discuss your safety concerns that you had, not only for yourself,
Mhm.
but for Mr. Gidere, to be on notice that Delara has become very aggressive?
I believe in the email I sent to both him and Ms. Hubble,
So
I
at
said
this
that I
point-
was concerned.
So at this point, you're injured, now you email both parents in September.
Right.
Okay. You had concerns.
I said, I'm very concerned about the welfare of the children in the classroom.
You said earlier that you made the recommendation for the ST meeting,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So was it before September 1st or 16th or after?
I think it was after.
Okay. So after September 16th, you called an ST meeting. How do you notify the parents that you have these concerns? Is it still email?
Yes, and we have to do you have to do all kinds of paperwork for an SC meeting. So I had to get the other teachers to observe, I had to write up all this and turn it in.
Hold on, before we get to that.
Yes.
The reasoning behind you calling this ST meeting was for what reason?
Behavior, to get a behavior analyst in to help Delara.
To get a behavioral analyst to come in to help Delara. Okay, so you emailed both of the parents that this is something that you wanted to do.
I believe so.
Okay, so you emailed both of the parents. Does that meeting take place?
We met with Delara's father. Is she there or?
No, he can't answer.
I'm
He
sorry.
can't answer.
I needed this.
Okay, so after September 16th, you're still healing, but you're still in the classroom teaching. You request an ST meeting. That happens.
Right.
The process of requesting an ST meeting was what, to your knowledge?
I fill out the paperwork, give it to the guidance counselor. The guidance counselor finds a place in the calendar that one of the principals can attend and sets up the meeting and sends the invitation to the meeting.
Okay, so to your knowledge, you sent out this email, I'm reiterating to confirm. You sent out this email to both parents that you have concerns.
Right.
To your knowledge, was the mother invited to that ST meeting that you recommended that there?
I don't think she was because she was not the one who had custody of the child.
Okay, so physically sitting in that meeting, mother was not there.
Right.
No phone call to mother.
I don't remember one.
Okay. Even though you were aware that you had been communicating with mother, did you not find that to be an issue?
No, because she wasn't the chief custodial parent.
Okay, because she wasn't the chief custodial parent. Okay. So if you're telling the court that you had some behavioral concerns, and a lot of us know about this process, but this is for purposes of the record.
Okay.
When a child with these kinds of behaviors that you have seen, who has now assaulted you, ma'am, did you not believe that it would be in Delara's best interest to have her mother be a part of that meeting?
No.
Okay. Did anyone tell you specifically not to notify the mother or invite the mother? We don't want her to be a part of this.
No.
Did any of your other staff, to your knowledge, say the mother is not needed for this meeting?
No.
So we have this meeting, September, October, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
Okay. This meeting occurs, and what is decided from your personal knowledge of that meeting?
That a behavior analyst would come and observe Delara in that classroom and would make recommendations for a behavioral plan.
Okay. But that didn't happen, did it?
Yes, it did.
It did?
Yes.
They came out, didn't they?
Yes.
And but Delara was, her behavior changed, didn't it?
She showed out for him pretty good.
She showed out.
Okay. She ran out of the classroom at one point. She started screaming at one
And this is the
point.
behavior analyst
The
when they
behavior
come in.
analyst, but she didn't know who she was.
When she comes in 2016?
Right.
She comes in and Delara's behavior, because based upon your chart, and if I want to be correct, you can look at September and October. And here's what I noted. from your testimony and your reading of that chart,
Mhm.
October, September, aggressive behaviors, all through each month.
Mhm.
Is that roughly about correct?
That's about right.
All right. So a behavioral analyst comes in and evaluates Delara in September,
Oh,
October.
no, she came in October.
Uh-huh, she comes in
Came
October. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And what happens with that?
She creates a behavioral plan with rewards. Went out and bought Pokemon cards, Pokemon kittens,
Mhm.
all things Pokemon, and they were meant to be rewards for Delara for good behavior.
So somebody's
That's the
helping you,
recommendation.
somebody's helping you in the classroom setting and everyone else who's educating Delara at this point now.
They weren't helping me, they gave me more work to do.
They gave you more work to do.
More data, yeah, that
Mhm.
helped me a bit.
So outside of the more data,
Uh-huh.
what additional work did you have to do?
I had to fill out charts all day long.
When you say charts all day long, outside of these behavioral calendars, because you evidently you
Right.
started doing that before,
Mhm.
because you do this for every kid.
Every year, every child.
Right. So outside of the behavioral calendar, what additional interventions did you put in the classroom for Delara in October 2017, or 2016? I apologize for the record.
I'm really having a hard time. I want to answer your question about the data. What I was being asked to do was carry around a chart and mark on it every time she made a disruption, which
Is that challenging?
is a pain. You know, I've got all these papers, I've got children here, I've got children there, want this, want that, and Laura's over there going, you're stupid. And I'm like trying to find the right charges and mark it down on, and,
There's no way you can keep a record of everything, is it?
no,
You're doing the best that you can with that.
absolutely.
So why are you having to record all of this data?
I was told to.
What is the goal in recording all of this data?
They think they can look at the data and see a pattern of behavior.
Mhm.
What they don't understand is that
What-
nobody knows.
Okay. The goal to gather the data is to
Look for a pattern.
look for a pattern. Now, you're in the classroom.
Mhm.
Do you see a pattern in Delara's behavior?
No.
So, Delara, you testified earlier, she can come in school early in the morning and have an attitude, is what you just said.
Yes.
She can have an attitude later on in the afternoon.
Yes.
You have no idea what triggers Delara's behaviors on any given day, do you?
No.
You don't know whether or not she's visited with her mom or not visited with her mom, do you?
Right.
Because based upon your data, her behaviors have been aggressive the entire year you've had her in your classroom. October 2017, outside of the data, you've sat her outside already. You were already given check-in and check-out because she was going to the principal's office, correct?
Correct.
Principal would come and pull her out. She was having pull-outs, correct?
Right.
Even before we started charting her behavior outside of this plan, correct?
Right.
At what point did either the mother or the father reach out to you and say, we need more help for Delara?
I don't remember them doing that.
You don't remember them doing that. And you testified earlier, you don't even remember a therapist coming to the school to meet with Delara, do you?
No.
Outside of Encore, Delara wasn't having any outside interventions to your knowledge, did you? Did she?
I can't remember when I found out that she was meeting with Dr. Berryman. I don't remember when I found that out.
I'm still in 2016.
Okay.
October 2016?
I did not know.
Did not know. Let's go to November 2016. And I'm using these charts, Ms. Pickett, to help you refresh your recollection on that time of year,
Thank you.
okay? November 2016, we've got blue, purple, blue, I got a red,
Mm-hmm.
and then I see out.
Oh, are we on November or October?
I'm in November right now.
November, okay.
I see red and I'm out.
10.
I see the 16th, 17th international, progress reports are sent home. Is that a school day when progress reports are going home?
Yes,
Okay. The 17th, is that a school day?
yes.
Okay, and it says out. Who's out?
I believe Laura was suspended then. Or else she was either out because she was sick or she was suspended. I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's right. She was either sick or suspended, and I don't know which.
Okay. All right. But she comes back on a new week. She's on blue.
Right.
And you said blue is
Blue is good.
Uh-huh.
Blue
She's
is
a good
good
day.
choices.
after that weekend, sounds like.
Mhm.
Then on Tuesday, you said a great morning and early afternoon, but read that again.
Hitting on playground and screaming. That, screaming would be either screaming in the halls or screaming in the classroom.
So,
I don't think that's my handwriting.
okay,
That looks to me like a substitute teacher wrote that.
okay. So again, you talk about hitting and screaming.
Mhm.
Those seem to be kind of normal
Mhm.
behaviors for Delara.
They are.
So hitting and screaming,
Mhm.
biting, anything?
She has bitten several people, but that's not a usual occurrence.
Then why was law enforcement never called for all of these assaults that Delara was doing at your school to these children?
I wish I knew. My job is to send them to the office and they take care of it from there.
And do you know of any knowledge of school resource officer calling a parent or parents coming in and having an emergency meeting because of her conduct and her behavior?
I know that Mr. Ryder came in and met with the principal about her a few times.
And what plan was put in place after that?
I don't believe one was.
So when Mr. Guider comes in to speak to the principal, the person that has to deal with Delara on a daily basis is not in that room
Right.
to not offer any suggestions or recommendations?
I would have been with my class.
Okay, so it's difficult because you still have, how many other kids in the classroom?
There's 18 total.
18 total. So when Delara is hitting and kicking and screaming, it's very difficult for you to educate even the rest of your children, isn't
Tell
it?
me about it. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So we talked about a behavioral analyst, you're gathering data, Delara is still acting out.
Mhm.
So is this data that you're you said the goal is to determine a pattern?
Mhm.
Have we determined a pattern as of yet?
There was no pattern.
No pattern. Okay. Still as of May 2017, there's no pattern.
Right.
Ma'am, you know why we're here today?
Do
Do you know why we're here today?
I believe it's a custodial hearing.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
correct?
How do you come to know about that stuff outside of the adults telling you?
I don't know.
Has Delara ever told you about court and when she's going to court and things like that?
Judge, I'm going to object. She's attempting to solicit hearsay.
I'll suspect that.
And I just want to put on the record, we asked for Delara to be a witness, and it was opposed, especially by the guardian ad litem. So I particularly oppose it under that basis as well.
In your working with Delara, does she seem to be, you said we discovered no pattern, right?
No pattern.
So realistically, you don't know when court is coming up, do you?
Not until I gossip in there.
Right. You don't know when she's visiting with her mom, do you?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know when she's not visiting with her mom, do you?
No, except she will tell me sometimes.
She will tell you sometimes, but does her behavior change?
No.
Ma'am, when we talk about some of the things that you've done differently in the classroom, isn't it true that you've encouraged Delara that if she behaves, she might get to see her mom a little bit more?
That was,
Isn't it true, ma'am?
I have not said that to her. I have not said that to her. Mr. Dyer told me that at one point she was having a terrible day. I called him during the day, and he said, well, you might want to mention to her that she's going to see her mother this weekend.
Okay.
And that's the only time.
And did you mention to her at that point in time at Mr. Gadir's?
Yes.
And how did that go when you told her that she's gonna see her mom this weekend?
There was no change of expression.
No change of expression.
Mhm.
So all this wonderful data that you have been giving us, you've given us beautiful testimony too, by the way.
Thank you, I was worried.
You have nothing to be worried about. We now have, she was already gifted, we know that, right? There's no doubt about that.
Right,
But she struggles emotionally in the classroom
absolutely.
and has struggled since she came into your classroom in August, on August 5th, I believe you said.
I think that was it.
Okay. And she struggled in August, right?
Mhm.
September, October, November, December, even after the new year in January,
Right.
in February. But can you tell me what happened in January 2017 that warranted another ST meeting?
I don't know. I see that the Encore teacher was having several problems, and I believe she may have suggested it.
Encore teacher, she only sees her once a week.
Right.
What could be happening in Encore to you? Did you see anything?
I'm gonna object unless you can lay a
I- I'm-
foundation of
that's
personal
what I was
knowledge.
getting
I was
to.
just saying.
Did you see anything when Dolores interacting with her Encore teacher?
No.
So that 1 week, 1 day of the week that she went to Encore.
She would usually be escorted back to the office before Encore was over.
So you were invited to an ST meeting yet again for Delara, correct?
I believe so. I can't say for sure the date.
Okay, we're not looking at the date, we're looking at the timing of the seasons.
Okay.
Now, you've been now gathering data on a regular and consistent basis based off your testimony, including your behavior chart.
Well, trying to find a pattern in the data, I did it for about 2 months. We couldn't see any. I did it in October and November. We could not see a pattern, and I stopped doing it.
Okay. So October and November 2016, no pattern. But what did you do different than you were doing prior to your injuries, outside of the data?
Outside of the data, I had made a point to talk with Delora more, to give her as much attention as I can. And since the injury, I've been making sure she gets special attention from me every day.
Miss Pickett,
Yes.
I might not be your friend after this.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Hey, she's a second grade teacher.
I know.
Go easy on her.
You're afraid of what Delara's gonna do, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
That's the reason why you keep the copies of those letters of those children in your drawer, because you don't know if she'll harm another kid one day.
Right.
And you want to have it for record to know that you were put on notice about that. That those kids were fearful of Delara.
Yeah.
But you testified that you have not provided any of that to either of these parents.
No, I haven't done given the letters to the parents. I have informed the administrators, and I told Dr. Ashford, psychologist.
So Dr. Ashford does
Dr.
know.
Ashford knows. She
Okay.
has not asked to see them, but she knows.
Okay, she knows that children have written over 50 letters to you talking about how they are afraid of their classmate that they have to sit in the classroom with every day.
Mhm.
And yet you're telling me the only thing that you have done differently is talk with the youth and give Delara special attention.
And keep her in an area where she has to go by me to get to them.
Do you keep her closer to your desk?
I try to, yes.
What do you mean you try to?
She gets up and walks around, and then we're all, when she starts pacing, then we're all on the alert. The parapro and I are both on high alert.
So now, I'm gonna divert just a little bit. What do you do now after the IEP is now put in place for her behavior? What do you,
Basically the same thing. I mean, the IEP basically is just saying that if she has a good day, she gets to spend time with the EE teacher.
so everybody has to be on tits and on E's, even the students in the classroom,
Yes.
not knowing what Delara's gonna do.
Right.
At any point in that IEP, you were part of all of that, right?
Yes.
Did anyone suggest maybe Delara needs to spend more time with her mother?
No.
Did anyone suggest as a reward to motivate Delara and her behavior to be that she spend more time with her mother?
Not in the S-team meeting.
Did anyone in that, to your personal knowledge, sitting in that meeting upon those recommendations, state that Delara's behaviors in that classroom were because she cannot see her mother?
I don't remember that statement being made.
Has Delara ever told you?
I object.
Let's stay.
Stop trying.
That's okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Regular.
It's all right. It's tempting, I know.
Dr. Berryman, you've only communicated with one time, right?
Right.
And therapy sessions are not occurring after school, to your knowledge, correct?
After school. That was what I was told by Dr. Berryman.
Okay. But no one's coming in to help Delara now that this new behavior plan is put in place?
No.
No counseling at the school?
Oh, the guidance counselor.
Guidance counselor, how often? Is she meeting
Whenever
with
she wants her, whenever she wants to see her.
You testified earlier, and I just want to be clear, that no suggestions from that meeting, from the psychologist or anyone that's spending more time with her mother is the issue why Delara's behaviors are the way they are.
I'm sorry, could you repeat
I'm
the
sorry.
question?
Strike that. You testified that there have been no suggestions that spending more time with Delara's mother would be beneficial or even harmful to Delara in that meeting.
Which meeting?
I don't know if that was actually said. I know that people were thinking it, I can't.
Object, move to strike.
I know.
You can't say what they can't say. You sir can't say what's in their mind.
Now, you testified earlier that Delara was even advised of visitations with her mother, but her behavior didn't change.
Yes.
Now, I want to be clear in regards to this. When we had that, you said in the October month, S-team meeting, mom wasn't there.
Right.
You don't know if she was invited or,
I don't know if she was. I don't have
Okay.
invitations.
February 2017, another S-team meeting. Was mom invited? Was mom there?
She was not there.
Was she on the phone?
I don't remember her being on the phone. I'm pretty sure she was not.
So to your knowledge, outside of your emailing to this mother, has anyone communicated with this mother, sent her a copy of the IEP for what's
Yes.
gonna be assessed?
Yes, she gets a copy of the IEP and has had several discussions with her. I believe Ms. Frazier has too.
Okay.
I was not there.
And I wanna be clear. Before your injury,
Mhm.
the only knowledge that you had of any order, or even before the mom come into the school, the only knowledge that you had of any order was the order of protection, correct?
Right,
You didn't know about this court's order.
no,
And since that time, have you read this court's order?
yes.
And what was your understanding of this court's order in regards to the visitations with the mother?
Judge, I object. I don't think it's for her to interpret the court's order of what the purpose would be.
That's okay. Since October 2016, remember I said I was gonna come back over there.
Yes.
Do you have any personal knowledge of a mother actually coming to the school and visiting with Delara or having any other meetings outside of ST meeting with anyone at the school?
Yes.
Okay.
She did not visit with Laura.
Okay.
She was not allowed in the building.
Judge, I'm
And
going to object unless she lays a foundation of personal knowledge.
I saw her come to the door. I saw Ms. Getz go out to her.
You on what day? And
I don't know what day it was.
this was 2016, because I'm back in October 2016.
Ms. Getz can probably tell you better than I.
I'm genuinely saying, did the mother come to the school after, we talked about 2 episodes in August?
Mhm.
Did the mother come to the school in September at all?
Oh, I don't, no, I'm talking later in the year.
October 2016, did she come to the school at all?
I don't remember.
Okay, and it's okay that you don't remember, your answer is just fine. November 2016, did the mother come to the school for lunch or anything, or
No.
any meetings? December 2016, did the mother come to the school for any meetings or at lunch with the child?
No,
Okay, January 2017, to your personal knowledge, was the mother ever at the school visiting with Delara or at any meetings at that school?
she has not visited with Laura at all.
Okay.
That's
At all, meaning all the way up until, let's go back to February 2017, because we have to be clear for the record.
right.
February 2017, to your personal knowledge, she has not been at the school visiting with Delara, having lunch with Delara. That's a compound question, I'll strike that.
That's okay. I
Visiting with
understand.
Delara, having lunch with Delara, yes or no?
No,
Okay. March of 2017. Visits with Delara at the school, lunch at the school, anything.
no,
April 2017,
no,
and now we're into May 2017.
no.
Okay. You testified earlier that seems to be getting a little bit better now in May of 2017, and we're in 10 days of that.
Mhm.
Okay. Plan was developed in April, actually written in April, okay? Now, if I look at your notes, even after April 12th, I'm seeing you note on April 13th, she had a good afternoon, I see some blue, those weeks of green, whatever. So if we look at, after this plan is written, sometimes there's a meeting in there, can you reflect upon any changes of behavior where any concerns had taken place for Delara?
I don't remember that.
Just based upon your reading and your writing of your behavior calendar since April 12th, has there been any red flags in the month of April for Delara with behavioral concerns? That's documented here, that's all I'm asking you about, what's documented here.
Okay. No, there have not been red flags. I do know, that I was upgrading her to pink because she started to get upset and then pulled herself back.
Okay,
And that's what she and I have been talking about every day,
so,
is that not letting things bother you.
so would it be safe to say that since April 12th, 2017, not only has Delara changed, but our working with Delara has now changed as well?
It's much easier.
And why is that much easier to your understanding, for you only?
Because she's not disrupting the class like she was.
Is she not disrupting the class like she was because you have now seen what's going on with Delara and how to work with Delara? Has that helped you now?
Yes, yes, it has.
Okay. Is it as stressful as it was before?
No,
has now having this IEP in place for, and it is for what purpose again? Because I can't testify to it.
Oh, the IEP is, just to make allowances for her and to help her behavior.
Uh-huh. And what is the disability on the IEP? Is there any disability on the
Yes,
IEP?
I believe it's emotional, what's the word? Emotional, I want to say damage, but I don't think that's it.
It's okay, it's okay. You know it's for emotional issues.
Emotional issues, right?
And based upon even your own testimony and even your charting of Delara, since April 12th, let's just give it a day, since April 12th, not only has Delara gotten better, but how you're working with her has gotten better too, correct?
Yes.
So ma'am, would it be safe to say that knowing how to work with this child and how to address her needs has been beneficial for both you, Delara, and the children in that classroom?
Yes.
That would be my question.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, do you have any more?
Just
Oh,
very, very.
okay.
I'll keep it short.
Short.
I'll try.
I'm not even sure. I thought this was the IEP.
Ms. Cricket, has Mr. Padilla reached out to you to provide any suggestions for rewards that might help Delara's behavior?
I believe he knows better than I do what will motivate her.
And
And I know he does provide rewards for her.
Has he ever communicated any ideas to you about how to work with her behavior?
I don't remember.
When did you become aware of the YouTube videos of Ms. Hubble?
I believe it was probably about January.
You said that you notified Mr. Adair when Delara hurt your foot, is that
Right.
correct? Did he seem to take the incident seriously?
Oh, yes.
Was he very responsive to what had happened?
Yes, he was. He was very sorry about it. He even offered to pay any medical expenses, but the school is paying its second on-the-job injury, so it's not a problem.
So he seemed to take it very seriously?
Yes, he did.
I believe those are my only questions.
I just have a few questions. Based upon the questions that were asked of you by Ms. Mack, lady in the red shirt, she's my colleague, so. All right, you made a comment about this first time that they came into school for the open house. You said it was about maybe a week to 10 days after school
I think
started.
it was exactly 8, yes.
Okay, and the comment that I heard you say is that you saw them smiling at each other and there didn't seem to be a problem.
They were smiling at Delara, I don't know about each other.
Okay,
But Delara was very happy and both her parents were smiling at her.
okay, and she was acting positively.
She was.
Okay,
She was very happy.
all right, now. I want to talk then about that August, when Mom came to lunch. If Mom testifies that the day she came to lunch was the 30th, does that sound about right to you, or would you have
That
any
sounds
reason?
about right.
Okay.
It's before Labor Day, I know.
Okay, and it was also the day after Mom came to lunch, Dad withheld her from school, right?
I
Objection,
believe,
Your Honor, counsel is testifying.
I'll sustain the form of the question.
Okay, let me re-ask the question. The day after Mom came to lunch, Delara did not appear at school, is that correct? Here, and I've got, here you go.
And Your Honor, I would object again, she says she doesn't remember the exact date that Mom came
Yes.
to lunch. The counsel's saying what date Mom's gonna say it was, but
I'll sustain that.
I can't say that. I'd have to look at the record to see if she was absent that day.
Okay, well, let's just talk about this week. All right, so the 29th and 30th of August are good days,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Can you tell from looking at this calendar, you don't have any entry on the 31st? Was she there?
It's possible she was out, and it's possible she didn't bring her folder. If they don't bring their folder, I'm going to make it out, I'm going to go back and write it.
Do you have attendance records with you this week?
I don't have any with me.
Okay, all right, we'll come back to that and I'll ask Ms. Getz about that. All right, and then you indicate,
This is all I was asked to bring.
okay, that's all right. And then on Thursday, the 1st, is the day she threw the desk at you, right?
Yes.
Hurt your toe, all right. Now, you weren't present in the lunchroom, you don't know how that went,
I didn't
right?
know she was there until lunch was over.
Okay. But, okay, we'll just come back to that. Now, these, Ms. Mack asked you a lot about Dad's notice about her behavior, but we've already gone through this with you, and he initialed the calendar, appears every day that you
He
send
did,
home,
he's very
right?
responsible about it.
So he had knowledge every single day of what Delara's behavior was like at the end, for that day.
He had what's right in front of you.
Okay. All right, now, I just want to be clear about this because Ms. Mack had asked you if after the behavior analyst came in, if there were interventions provided, and here's what my notes reflect, that it was not an intervention but put you on a course of data collection. Is that correct? Okay. And you said there's no pattern, but let me ask you a couple things that I've heard you talk about today. You said Delara doesn't get along well with other kids, right? She won't integrate with other kids in the classroom, right?
Right.
In projects, right?
Right.
In the playground,
Right.
right? So she has trouble integrating with other children, right? She also appears to have problems with instruction, right?
Right.
She doesn't like to, she doesn't want to do a test, she ain't gonna do it,
Right.
right?
Objection
She-
not asked to be answered, Your Honor.
I also
This is
say,
cross-examination.
this is recross, and we've asked Nancy and gone over all this before. And she's been on the stand for 2 hours
Well,
and 15
she,
minutes.
I am cross-examining her on the guardian ad litem's questions. These are the guardian ad litem's questions.
I must sustain objection.
All right. And Delara doesn't have a very high self-esteem, does she?
You know, and
Well, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. She, never mind, I'll strike that question. Now, I want to, she asked you this question about, Dad told you to tell Delara, you called Dad about behavior, and Dad said, mention to her she might get to see her mom if she acts better. Something like that. Did I get that right?
It might be mentioned to her that she has a visit with her mom this weekend, I believe.
Well, what you said on direct examination is she might get to see her mom this weekend.
Oh, did I? Okay. I don't remember him saying might, or
And
that
I
she
was
is going
objecting,
to.
I think that's a mischaracterization. I think she did say that she has a visit with her mom.
And what's the objection?
The objection is it's a mischaracterization
I'll
of prior
sustain that.
testimony.
And I would say I wrote down my notes from her
I'll sustain
testimony,
that.
and
Was
she's
that what
a,
she testified?
and
I'll
she-
sustain.
all right. And so you went to Delara and told her she was going to get to see her mom?
Said your father says that you're scheduled to have a visit with your mom or something. Something to that effect. It's been a long time, and I say a lot of things that she may have noticed. I talk a lot. So I don't remember exactly what I said, but words to that effect.
Okay, so, never mind, I'll strike that. Now, you were asked a lot of questions about if anybody said that spending more time with their mother would help, but isn't it equally true that nobody has said that, indicated that they can have a direct connection between her spending time with her mother and Delara's bad behavior? Isn't that right?
I'm trying to be as honest as I can. And the truth is, I can't tell you where I have heard it that it has always been, is she better after she sees her mother? I don't know.
Okay. Now, Miss
I know
Mack,
her mother, well, no.
I know Miss Mack asked you about the mom coming to school, but you had said before she came to school in November to have a meeting conference with you, right?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
Yes, she did, and the children were not, see, she couldn't because the children were not in the building.
Right, right. But she did come in and have a conference
did.
with you, one-on-one.
Yes.
Okay.
And Ms. Getz was present for it also.
I don't have any other questions.
All right, Ms. Mack, anything else?
I just need to, just one, I mean, I'm gonna step, if I may.
That's fine.
I don't want to back on.
Let's just keep it over here.
Ms. Pickett, you said, my colleagues asked you about that day, of your personal knowledge of seeing or knowing that the mother, was there during the lunch episode in August.
Right.
The day we're not concerned about. I want to take you back to the first time that you met Delara and you testified that you saw both parents smiling at Delara.
That wasn't the first time I saw Laura, but
The open house,
That
you
was-
saw both parents smiling at Delara.
yes,
Okay. Now, you had already seen behavior issues with Delara from the 5th on, and so we're talking about 8 days later.
right.
On that day that you saw her with both of her parents, not with them, but with them,
Mhm.
how was her behavior that day?
She was full of herself. She was delighted. I remember her spinning around the room, like a ballerina, like little girls do.
She wasn't violent that day,
Oh,
was
no,
she?
no, no, no.
Was she yelling and screaming at anyone that day,
No,
was she?
no, no.
So it seemed like Delara really, really enjoyed having both of her parents in the same room, didn't she?
That's her idea, I guess.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to let you go, Ms. Pickett. I appreciate your time. You did a great job testifying, and thank you for being here. You are free to leave at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Would it be possible that we could get to the other school personnel within 30 minutes?
We can finish one within 30 minutes. I'm trying to think which one would be
Ashford
faster. I don't have preferences when I call, I just don't know which one would be faster. I'm guessing Ms. Getz would be faster, and we can get her out here.
Do you think 30 minutes?
I don't know, 30 minutes is optimistic, but
All right, we'll just stop down and take a break for lunch now. We'll come back at 1 o'clock.
Your Honor, may I request, as we're scheduling
1:15.
things, would it be possible if we take a 10-minute break at 3 o'clock? I received a message from my assistant that Judge Robinson wants to do an emergency call of one of my cases at 3. I'm not sure what it's about.
That's fine, just
Okay. Just-
holla
It
at me.
shouldn't take long, I don't think, but if that's okay.
and I have to finish at 4 for meeting today.
You said 1:15?
1:15.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, right? Did you say 1 o'clock?
She
I
changed
said 1
1:15.
o'clock. I'm supposed to be somewhere between 12 and 1, and it's right around the corner. So
Okay, so you won't be here right at 1? You'll
I'll be here
in the
right
middle.
a little after 1.
Okay.
All right.
Your Honor, will this room be locked now?
Yes, we'll lock the door. Christian, I need a ride. Okay, we need a ride with us.
I was gonna ask her about these additional rooms, but. These are other rooms, but she's got, it's all over the place. So why didn't you work on this? I did. No, the school. Where was school?